Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. We are less than 40 days away from our Chinmay Inspiration Yatra 16 to Canada. Yesterday I shared with you 4 ways our Devis are to prepare. That is, reduce weight, raise stamina, judge less, reflect more. How many of you thought about this over the past 24 hours? By show of hands. We are now less than 60 days from our Running from the Mind half marathon. Lots of us will be gathering in the DC area, in the Cleveland area, to run, jog, walk, crawl a half marathon. In our recent check-in, the suggestion I made to the 120 seeker runners is to move with less gear. Less gear. When I jog in the morning, I don't have to wear a hat because it's dark. If I were to jog now, I would have to wear a hat because it's too bright. That's extra gear. The more gear you have, the more heavy you feel, the more attached you become to this gear. Now extrapolating this to meaningful mornings. As you go about your day, you go about your life, try to shed some of your gear. This helps you to feel lighter, helps you to feel more independent. Have you ever observed that gossipers are attracted to gossipers? Have you observed that? That complainers are attracted to complainers. Similarly, attachment breeds attachment. In chapter 14, Shri Krishna focused on limits, laziness, aggressiveness, quietness. These limits are a form of one being attached to their sense of individuality. And if you have these limits, then this attachment to your sense of individuality will spread. And that's what's being shared in the beginning of chapter 50. Connection clear to everyone. What to do? Do you ever say that to yourself? What to do? That's how I teach. Okay, now what do I say next? In verse 3, the last quarter, Shri Krishna shares, Asanga shastrena dridena chitva. These are intense words. Asanga, independence. Shastrena, independence is a weapon against the ego. This independence has to be dridena. One has to be uncompromising. Chitva, that's how these attachments get cut. The limits get cut. In verse 4, if I could summarize this into one phrase, it is to be imbalance towards being balance. That may not make sense to you. To me, it does. It is to be reckless towards your pursuit of peace. See, when you balance your pursuit towards balance, you're acknowledging there's a relative and there's an absolute. But the one who has clarity, their imbalance towards balance there is only the absolute. There is no relative. And other words for balance here are oneness. Do you have to balance in oneness? You can just be. Infinity. Do you have to balance in infinity? There's nothing else to balance. The word that we really zoomed into was awareness. Do you remember the hot rice? The rice is hot because the water is hot, because the pot is hot, because that's the nature of fire. Not the pot, not water, not rice. So as you go about interacting with all, feel this awareness. In verse 5, Nirmana moha jita sanga doshaha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha dvandve vimukta sukha dukkha sagnaihi gacchantya padam avyayam tata. When we flowed through this verse, I shared some highlights. I'm now going to share each virtue that is needed. This is a dense verse on virtues. What Sri Krishna is sharing by introducing this verse is how ready you have to be to actually be independent. Nirmana, one has to be free of pride. Nirmoha, free of confusion. Jitasanga doshaha, one has to be clear about the evils, the deficiencies that comes with attachment. I pointed out one yesterday. Attachment makes you an extrovert. Adhyatma nitya, to feel this knowledge and to feel what's inside of you. Adhyatma or Vedanta is the knowledge of what's inside. Feel the knowledge, feel what's inside of you. Vinivritta kamaha, to let go of desires by being content. All checked off, everyone. No pride, no confusion, no attachment. Dvandver vimuktaha, to not be perturbed by the nature of living. Yesterday, Sheila and I were talking about how a group of people she's associated with, they're less polite towards those who are different, and how this riles her. And she says, how come you're not riled? And I said, because I interact with such people all the time, and I don't mean all of you. But my point is, I interact with so many people. This is just how people are. Why be riled by it? Sukha dukkha sagnehi, to know. Today there's pain, tomorrow there's pleasure. Remember when we were young and how awesome it was to travel? Now we're old and how horrible it is to travel. Like, I have to go to Boston tonight, and I'm going because it's my responsibility, but it's not something I'm excited about. I'm happy to see the Boston people. Don't take it personally. Gachanti. You don't go, but you feel. When you become amudaha, one who is balanced, padam avyayam tata, one will be happy. At the end of a movie, they lived happily ever after, correct? That will be you. This is the only way to live happily ever after. A couple of more insights until we get to a simpler verse. Asanga, verses 3, 4, and 5 are really zooming into asanga. The typical word used in Vedanta is vairagya. I've shared lots of ways this can be practiced. Here are more. Simplify your lifestyle. One of your applications was to eat without taste, correct? If you simplify your lifestyle, You will have more energy and enthusiasm to inquire, to move away from the article being circumstance and into awareness. Pujya Swami Tejomayananda had shared with us, we have to constantly teach the mind to let go of the small so that it can hold on to the big. To comprehensively teach your own mind to not focus on the short term, but to focus on the long term. That's what Vairagya is, isn't it? Not living for likes, but rather living for love, for life. Verse 6. Na tad bhasayate suryaha, na shashanko na pavakaha, yadgatva na nivartante, tadhama paramam mama. Joy. Na tat. The word tat is being used here as infinity. Na means no. No what in infinity? Bhasayate suryaha. The sun doesn't shine there. In infinity, the sun doesn't shine there. The sun is not needed there. How many of you understand this without me explaining? This is a mantra we chant all the time. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam. And so, reflecting on this. If you remember in chapter 8, you can take the path of the moon or the path of the sun. And the path of the sun was values. If you change the word to gunas, tell me what's deeper than the gunas? The dhamma or atma, as you're sharing. So the point of this first quarter is values, gunas, are great, but those are still references. The locus is the dhamma or atma. So the physical sun doesn't shine there. Values are not needed in infinity. You don't have to be patient if there is no other. Na shashango na pavakaha. Also, the moon doesn't shine there, nor fire. This is an obvious statement that if the sun doesn't shine there, what depends on the sun? The moon. What sort of depends on the moon? Fire. The point is it's getting smaller. And what's really lovely about this is, now, tonight, when you see the moon, what will you think about? Amore, a pizza pie. You're going to think about verse 6 now of chapter 15, yes? Yes. See the subliminal teachings. And the same goes with fire. Shri Krishna's such a visual teacher. Yadgatva nanivartante. When one feels their spirit, they will never unfeel this. Many of the verses in chapter 15, Shri Krishna shares, you'll never come back. You'll never change. You'll never fall. His point is invest in this. In my life, one of my greatest challenges is that my sense of time and my wife's sense of time and my kid's sense of time is very different. When I feel we should go, so I'm operating at 1 speed, Sheila's at 3/4 speed, our kids are at -half speed. And my point in all of this is, I am challenged by this because of time. Time is relative, but here Shri Krishna is sharing, if you'll never come back, you'll never fall, the point is you go beyond time. So anyone who ever feels a time pressure, you have a flight to catch, you have a meeting to attend, remember this verse. You never have to feel that again. And finally, that Dhamma, Paramamama, that is my Dhamma. And this is the highest. You will feel complete. Ending with an aspect from Srimad Bhagavatam. When Rishi Uddhava shares with Sri Krishna that I want to come with you, Sri Krishna shares, my Dhamma, where I'm going, even Garuda can't come. That which I'm always sitting on is still an accessory, so that can't come. You can only come if you know who you are. And Pujya Swami Tejramananda intensely shared, Vaikuntha, do you all know what Vaikuntha is? Where Bhagavan Narayana lives, is only appropriate for bhajans. We make bhajans such a big deal, and he's sharing, bhajans will get you to Vaikuntha, but that doesn't mean you'll be Bhagavan Narayana. Are you ready? Are you ready to feel that you're Purusha? You are complete. From inspiration to application, your application yesterday, to rate how well you deal with discomfort. Can you show some of your scores in the chat? How many of you are happy with your rating? Okay. I see less hands up than more hands. Here's a visceral way to know if you deal with discomfort well. You're not easily irritable. You're not easily irritated. If you're not easily irritable, irritated, then you deal with discomfort well. Your application for this morning is, 3 weeks ago, we had completed our Prithvi Utsava. This week I recorded a private message for Shankar Mahadevan and Shan. We're friends now. At least I think I'm friends with them. Whether they do is a different matter, but I don't control that. I'm accepting of that. And there is a lot of work with the Prithvi Utsava, so our team has been reconciling a lot. Do you know, for our Prithvi Utsava, we raised $32,969 for the Rainforest Foundation, which is doing work in South America. That's the most we've ever raised for an environmental charity. You are all awesome. I had emailed our Upanishad course students to donate this as a birthday gift to me. And there was no pushback. People donated even more then, but you shouldn't do that. Now I'm going to leverage that every year. And so your application is, watch the recording. The recording is on YouTube. There's such profound messages from the artists, from the activists. That's your application. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Be joy.